Hey, this is James Brookes from Evertrapped. Basically, our band formed in 2007, and primarily with Eric Lemire on the drums and Fred Dupuy on the guitar, and eventually Vincent Benoit on the other guitar. And me and John, we came in a little bit later. And essentially had our 2012 album, The Anomaly, Under the Deep in 2015, and now our upcoming 2020 album, The Last Extinction. Band name Evertrapped really is, it was weeks of like trial and error, just trying to get a name, and sort of just encapsulated, certain ideas in the band and of like the stuff, we write about more at the beginning. Especially even though like the name, the way it's spelled, capitals with the square brackets, actually grammatical irony, but aside from that, it's really just a metaphor really for how much in life in general you try to enjoy life, or sort of get the most out of life, so to speak. There's always trappings, there's always confinements, there's nothing you can do about that, no matter how you try to get the most out of something. There's always going to be drawbacks. So that's sort of the idea behind the band, so to speak. But I mean, like realistically, the music sort of makes the name of your band, no matter what you're called, really, right? So ultimately, for us, that's what's just the most important, is that the music is fitting. So you could have called the band anything, really. In the end, it's as long as the music is cool and people enjoy it. That's the main event. So with The Last Extinction coming out, we're really excited about this. The sound of the album definitely it sort of takes some of the sounds from The Anomaly and Under the Deep, and it's sort of there's aspects from The Anomaly that we didn't really do on Under the Deep, and then some of those have come back now, along with how we evolved musically between The Anomaly and Under the Deep, and then this album sort of has a bit of both. And so to a certain extent, it kind of really does a full you get the full perspective of our sound and like what we do with this album, which is cool. So in a certain way, I guess you could say this shows the most variety in terms of potential as to what we can do musically, compared to the other albums where The Anomaly had kind of like like more softer, rounded out edges to the sound and some of the writing, and whereas Under the Deep was just full on, go straight for the throat aggressive, which is fun, but this sort of like it has a bit of both. Like for example, in this album, in The Last Extinction, we're back to doing some clear vocal choruses and stuff like that, which we weren't really doing. And Under the Deep, there isn't really any clear vocals at all. It's full on, straight for the throat aggressive, and that's cool. But what's great about this is that with this album, you kind of get I guess the best of the both worlds and the brand of music that we write. So yeah, you're getting a bit of everything. In terms of the lyrics initially weren't really, because given that I write them, I don't really write for a specific theme or concept or anything like that. In fact, I've always never really been for doing concept albums or anything, and this album sort of ended up becoming one, and it wasn't really planned or anything like that. It was really just a matter of a lot of the writing came out the way it did, and as a result of which, in the end, there was a lot of similarities in the album. There was a lot of these post-apocalyptic imagery and things like that, and given that it's sort of fitting in a certain way, I guess, in an ironic way, and with what's going on in the world right now, which also, the lyrics were all written and recorded like a year ago, or a little less than a year ago, maybe about 10 months ago, when they were actually finished, and so the rest of the time I was just mixing and mastering, so there was no way we could expect this album in its subject matter was going to coincide with what's going on in the world right now, and so it's sort of, I guess it's a weird coincidence, and but it's definitely, the lyrics share in this album a concept. You know, it's got that, you know, the title is The Last Extinction, and it follows that thread. It's you know, very much about, you know, post-apocalyptic imagery and things along those lines, you know, and certain complexities, and taking it from like different points of view, different levels of extinction and so forth. So that's kind of what the lyrics sort of entail, and I guess in the way it's sort of become a concept album without, you know, wanting to be one. It is. So the cover art pretty much just follows that theme. We actually had another idea for the cover art before, which was artwork we, you know, done more with photography instead of, you know, of computer generated images and so forth. And in the end, I mean, it was cool. You know, it was a good idea, it was a good concept, you know, but in the end we decided to go with something a little more that concretely and straight, you know, it fit the bill with what the lyrics were about and everything. Instead of trying to go for something a little more abstract, this is definitely less abstract, and you know, it definitely, you see the title of the album, the artwork, I mean, it goes hand in hand. So it's simple like that. It was just a matter of finding something to fit, and this was something that fit. It was the kind of imagery that we liked, you know what I mean, and keeping it metal. And just going for brighter colors this time instead of, you know, darker colors, a lot of them what we've done before, which we really love. We love the stuff we've done before. It was great. And the stuff that was done for us and the people that worked on it. But this time something that, like, really, with the brighter colors, I feel like it really jumps out at you, you know what I mean? And that was sort of what we wanted with an album. There's a certain provocative nature to it in a way. The album's not signed to a label. Yeah, I don't really think I could say whether or not I think it's important or not to have a label. I'm sure it's important, but, you know, there's certain ups and downs to everything. One advantage I'll have to say for not necessarily having one in this particular case is that we can make the album, you know, pretty much the way we want it. You know, we have like 100% creative control. There is nothing. You know, there's no drawbacks. There's nothing to hold it back whatsoever. It's 100% creative control of the album, and so that's definitely an upside to having 100% control. So no labels, nobody telling us what to do, what we got to do, what we should do. You know, we record, produce, and mix, master everything pretty much ourselves. So that's definitely an upside. But I mean, you know, I'd say we've never been signed to a major label, so I mean, it's, you know, to say, you know, for all I know, it could be a huge eye opener if ever that happens. So, if any major label sees this interview, please keep us in mind. We didn't actually get around to scheduling a tour for this album. We would have liked to, but luckily it was right before we were about to do it, and, you know, we met with some of our promoters, and then we were looking into it, and then everything happened, and so we didn't have to cancel anything or postpone anything. I guess it's lucky in a way, the timing really, but we would like to play live because we're just dying to play some of the stuff. We've played some of this material live like a couple of times, but that was it. And we want to do it. You know, we're just dying to do it. So we didn't have to postpone anything, but definitely looking forward to getting the opportunity to play our new material on stage. And hopefully there'll be no, you know, to get the show going like on you know, keep that professional level of, we like to think we put on fairly professional shows. You know, we bring a show with us. You know, there's like we bring our risers, smoke machines, screens, all that kind of stuff. We don't just show up with your average gear and play, which is fine too. But we like to give people a bit more of a show, you know what I mean? So not just us playing, we try to give them the kind of stuff you get if you saw a bigger show, and bring that to smaller venues where you wouldn't expect it. However, as you've all had moments on stage where, you know, we've screwed something up or done something stupid, and speaking for myself, there was one moment that I can never forget it. It was just the worst thing. We were opening for a band called Threat Signal. They're another Canadian band that we really like, and we were like playing direct support like right before them, and I was so excited to play with these guys that we got to like right before the last song, you know, so I'm getting the crowd back into it, telling me like, the threat signal's coming up next, and so forth, and they're screaming, and everybody's happy and everybody's excited. And that's when I would give it a shout out to the bands that played right before us. There was two other bands, and I couldn't remember their names of their bands because I was so into what was going on that like I completely spaced on what their band names were. And but I had one of those little flyers, those handout flyers. I had it in my pocket, and I was wearing like cargo pants or shorts. And so I go to get it out of my pocket, and there's a ton of other stuff in there, like my wallet, loose cash, keys, all that stuff. You know what I mean? It's all in this side cargo pocket. And I go to pull out the flyer, I pull it out, and everything else comes with it. And it's like all over the stage. So my life is like flashing before my eyes, obviously, and then so I didn't even get a chance to mention the other names of the bands because I panicked immediately, and I had the flyer in my hand and I just dropped it, and then I was like, I just play the song. And so then we're playing the song, and I'm putting on this like sort of bit that I do with a lot of performances where I'll be crawling around on the stage floor, stuff like that. But the thing is, I'm doing it because I'm slowly picking up my stuff while the song is playing at the same time, and hoping that nobody's noticing that I'm slowly stuffing all this stuff back into my pockets. And I'm sure some people noticed, and I looked like quite the fool. But that was definitely an onstage fail. And anyway, I look back at it now and I laugh, but at the time I was not particularly pleased with myself. But whatever, these things happen. For myself, in terms of I gotta say, there's definitely one album that has impressed the hell out of me in the last year, and it's in less than a year. I think it's been out. Was the last As I Lay Dying album, Shaped by Fire. I hadn't heard an album that really got to me in a while as much as them, and that album. And I was never even the biggest As I Lay Dying fan to begin with, and I heard that album and when they came back and everything, and I was like, holy hell, this is amazing. This is so awesome. I drove down from here to Buffalo to see them play because they didn't have any Canadian dates. Just to go see them play because I wanted to see it so bad, because I think they did an amazing job with that album. It was just unbelievable. I can't get enough. I still listen to it all the time. When the singles would come out, it'd be just top of my music rotation, nonstop. I just think the album just mixes everything I like about metal. Is there's a lot of it in there. They're not my favorite band, but that particular album, there's just about most of the elements that I like about metal you can find in most of the songs on the album. They have a formula, they stick to it, but the formula works. So you could have made a double album and of the same formula and kept it going, it wouldn't have mattered. I still would have listened to it. I still would have loved it for sure. So in Montreal, most things are shut down now. There's a lot of places, I guess. You go to the grocery store, if you ain't got gloves on, stuff like that, you got to wash up before you go in. They wipe down a car for you, things like that. I mean, it's the only place you really go when you leave the house. Nowhere else to really go other than maybe going for a bike ride or something. Other than that, there's not much to really do. I mean, you're stuck inside. Essential businesses have to stay open, so they're open. And that's about it, though. So other than that, the situation here is, I guess, like a lot of other places. I mean, you're stuck inside. You can't do much of anything, and you just gotta live with that and deal with it, I guess. It's At first, I thought it was kind of excessive, and then I can't help but see reports all the time and see how it just gets worse. And then again, I don't really trust the media to. I trust it to a certain degree, but that's about it, though. So I always feel like it's being embellished, and which I'm sure it is. So I don't know, how it's really going for real, but it still seems like it's pretty bad. I'm doing all right. I'm stuck in the house for the last 3 weeks, and much to do. The rest of the band's pretty much in the same boat. So I mean, I don't know. That's about it. It's just about like most other places, I assume. And I don't know what it's like anywhere else really, but here it's about that. You're stuck at home. You go out. You got to go, but you got to go to the grocery store. You do that. You be careful. You wash your hands. Just be careful, and that's it. And there's nothing else you really can do. Nothing else you really can do. And we'll get back to it at some point, but we're not there right now. So that's about it. It's long, but sit at home, video games, beer. That's about it. What else what are you gonna do? So once all this is over, I guess, yeah, it's back to playing shows as soon as possible after this. I'd imagine there are probably going to be a rush of bands that want to do it, and we're definitely one of them. We want to get out there, like I was saying before, we want to get out there, play our new stuff, show it to people. We're so excited to play stuff live for our new stuff live, you know what I mean? So that's going to definitely be the primary focus. Now we're just trying to do as much as possible, getting it online, get it out there, get people listen to it. Everybody's stuck at home, so great. Now if you're stuck at home, you gotta listen to it. That's it. May 22nd, the new album will be out, so there'll be that on top of it. But yeah, after that, primary focus is definitely going to be getting back to playing live. We're itching to play, and it's just it has to happen. We have to get back to it at some point. That's going to be the coolest thing, is getting back to playing this stuff live. So that's it. Yep. Take it easy.